Hi, good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. Okay, so let's make a start. And welcome to the midweek market update live stream from us here at Smack the Markets. So if I can ask you to take a few moments just to read through the disclaimers, make sure that you're comfortable with them. Basically, what they're saying is that we're not licensed to be able to give advice. The information that we discuss today is purely for educational purposes only and not intended to give any advice at all. So please make sure that you're comfortable with all of these terms before continuing. So let's take a look at the environment today. We've got quite a lot of 2-star announcements today. Couple of 3 stars, which are the main ones. So we've got at 9 o'clock, we've got Christine Lagarde speaking. She is president of the ECB, of course, and she's speaking now. So that's likely to have an impact on the euro. We've got 1:30, we've got US dollar PMIs, so that's a high volatility event. And then pretty much throughout the rest of the day, we've got a raft of news coming through from the euro and Great British Pound. And then through the afternoon, we've got US dollar and CAD. Quite a few bits that will certainly sort of keep things a little bit more active. But I think the main stories at the moment are all coming from the what's not on the schedule, and things like the stimulus wars that seem to be going on at the moment in the US between the Republicans and the Democrats. It seems like a small stimulus package is that's being tabled has already been rejected by Pelosi, and that's not likely to sort of help the market conditions very much. Although the fact that stimulus is being talked about now and it is being negotiated, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we get something before the elections. In any case, I think these stock index markets are going to remain buoyant at least until up into the election, and then that will be a big decision point for them. We've also got Brexit negotiations, which of course are coming to a head pretty much daily now, and we're likely to hear more rhetoric on that as well. So that's putting pressure on the euro and pound as well. We're seeing quite a bit of negativity in pound today. And on the vaccine front, which of course affects everything, is we're not getting some wonderful news with the latest trials from Eli Lilly being paused. So not helping things at all. So let's take a look at a few things here that we discussed on Monday, and some of the markets that we're keeping an eye on through today. So if you've got questions on, or you want to take a look at particular markets, as long as I've got data for it on this platform, we'll go and take a look at those. So just pop those into the questions box. In the meantime, let's take a look at the markets that we discussed in Monday's newsletter, which was the Dow. And if we have a look at this here on the daily time frame, let me sort of zoom into this. Now, on Monday, what we were looking for was strength here. We're looking for the market to continue to move higher. In fact, we got that quite a move higher on Monday, and then the market sort of retraced back up into the level. So we have a look at this on the 4-hour time frame. It's a little bit more sort of clearer. So the number and the level on the futures market, the level was just about here, which is 28,600 on the futures market. Slightly different level here on the cash market, but the breakout occurred here. So we've actually got the breakout. It actually closed a trading window, so we've got another trading window level just at the highs here, which is around 28,900 here on the cash market, and you can see the market actually closed that, and then we had the retracement back into 28,600, and that was our decision point here. Now, we've seen the market sort of like turn around here over yesterday's session. Yesterday, there wasn't a great deal of price action going on, very sideways here in the Dow. But things starting to move around a little bit here now. And I think that we're starting to get some bullish action coming across the board in these indexes through the overnight session. So as long as we can remain, the news environment can remain positive, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we start to get another run up here towards the top end of this level, around sort of 28,900 for the cash market. So if we just sort of come down to the lower time frames, you can start to see the sort of price action here. We can see our level through here. We can see that the market's sort of taken out the lows. It's now started to turn around. We're starting to get some convergence here on the moves higher. So let's come down to the 15-minute time frame, and let me sort of zoom out of this. So without a great deal of structure here, it's going to be difficult to start to see what we could potentially look at. But personally, I would prefer to see the market above this point here, and that will give us, if we get above this point here, then we've got a clear series of higher lows. We'll also have a clear series of higher highs. So waiting for a breakout here, some sort of pullback into a retracement, possibly back into that level, and then looking for a continuation. We've got a decent sort of move there to the long side up towards the top end of that sort of price point. So that could be something that sort of develops later on this morning in the Globex session, or maybe into the afternoon when the cash market opens as well. I mean, the trend here on the higher time frames is looking particularly strong, and this is the mid time frames. This is the 4-hour time frame. So again, I think there is a wider expectation here that stocks are going to remain on the sort of bullish side, certainly up until the election. So we've got a bit of time on that one yet. Okay. The other markets that we discussed were, let's have a look. So we talked about CAD yen. So let me come to our CAD yen market. And if we come down to the 4-hour time frame here, this is what we were looking at, and this is what we were discussing on Monday. This price level through here, which is around the sort of 80 sort of 250 to 8300. You can see that we've got clear support and resistance structure through here. The market was finding support in, and clearly what's happened is the market didn't find a great deal of support here. It has actually broken through, and we've just got this sort of sideways consolidation going now. But if we zoom into this, you can see that the price action on these candles is looking sort of rather bullish. So again, I'm quite liking this from a longer term perspective to the long side, but and I think we might sort of find some support here. But at the moment, I'm not seeing a sort of setup on this. So again, if we come down to the sort of 1-hour chart, we're going to need to see some sort of structure above this level. So maybe even on the 15-minute chart. So the sort of thing that I'm going to be looking at is sort of the market getting above this sort of level here. You can see even actually, I think, let's just move that a little bit higher. If we can get above this level, then we've actually got, that's around sort of 80.35. That clears all of this sort of congestion through here, and sort of puts this into a bit of a move, a bit of freer space to the long side. Even if we could get some free space up towards these highs, that's enough for a reasonable move on the sort of lower time frame. So be looking about a 15-minute time frame trade on this one. So this is the sort of activity that I'm looking for on CAD yen. The others that we mentioned were Aussie yen. Now Aussie yen didn't set up at all. We come down to the 4-hour time frame. If you remember, what we're looking at here on the Aussie was a retracement into the moving averages. It was the decision point here on these candles. That didn't happen, and the market has the Aussie has weakened off further, and the market sort of declined further. So no setup materialized on the Aussie. And the other one was silver. So if we have a look here at silver. Now, still like silver and gold, to the long side, the challenge is really with these markets is actually sort of positioning and timing of them. They're quite volatile markets, as we know, and these, as we can see, have taken a rollover, and they've sort of pulled back into congestion levels at the moment. So taking a look at this on the daily time frame, you can see that the markets, even if I start to mark a level in here, you can see that the markets sort of come just underneath support, or underneath resistance, which is at the moment previous support and resistance. So we're underneath that level at the moment. Again, if I'm still liking the fact that we got higher lows forming here. So again, I think that the interesting point is going to be if we can start to break above the high side here. From a technical setup perspective, this doesn't look particularly wonderful, because we've got a high, a sideways consolidation, then we've got a Now, let's just come down to the lower time frames on silver. And you can see that we've got quite a nice sideways consolidation here going on in price action. We've also got, whilst price has been consolidating sideways, we've got buying momentum coming into the indicators here, indicating that we've got strength coming in. So again, supportive of a pullback and strengthening price. Now, that's not a good enough technical setup for me to consider a trade at the moment. But the sort of thing that I would look at here, and again, if you come down to the 15-minute chart, you can see this sideways consolidation a bit more clearly. We can see that we've got almost an inverted sort of heads and shoulders here. So you've got a shoulder, a head, a shoulder here, only confirming if the market can break to the high side. So even if we tightened up this level a little bit and sort of came down to this sort of area, you can see if the market broke through to the long side, then and started to get a pullback. So we could look at buying the first pullback after the break, and that would sort of demonstrate that the market's actually gained a great deal of strength to get through these through this level, and we would have formed a reversal pattern as well. So indicators on these lower time frames looking much stronger, as you can see here. So again, keeping an eye on the silver market there for a turnaround. Now, of course, when we're looking at silver, let's have a look at gold, because these two are not going to go in opposite directions. And if we take a look at gold here on the daily time frame, again, you can see that the market has pulled back into levels here. It's pulled back underneath the 1920 level, which is key level on this market, but it's holding above the lower structure point here too. So again, very similar structure to silver. We can also see from the indicators here that we've still got buying momentum coming into this market. So providing we can find support here and the market retains that support, again, we've got a very similar sort of structure here to silver. So again, 4-hour time frame, Let's come down to the lower time frames again. You can see the price pattern here of rejections to the lows. In fact, you can see the market testing our lower level there pretty much on the nose, and you can see how prices respected this sort of level before. Let me just come back out of this. You can see quite a few tests through here, and now price looking much more sort of bullish. So again, we can look for a similar type of price action here on the gold market as well. You can see on the lower time frames here, we've got the same type of thing. Almost actually, gold is almost looking a little bit more bullish than the silver market, which is nice, because if this continues and confirms, then silver is likely to follow, and I think the silver price patterns is looking a little bit more neater from a technical perspective. Okay, so let's have a look at new markets for today. So if we look at the strengths and weaknesses, now these have been changing this morning, and been changing quite drastically actually. I took a look at them before, about 10 minutes before coming on to the live stream, and we had Aussie and the Kiwi now turning strong. We had the Singapore dollar strong. We had the euro and Great British pound weak, and I also had the CAD showing up as weak as well. I think the CAD, we could sort of call that secondary weakness at the moment. It's not as decisive as the others, but euro and Great British pound distinctively weak at the moment. Those markets are holding quite a bit of news this morning. So Christine Lagarde, as I mentioned, is speaking now. So it's not wise to be jumping into those markets whilst there is a 3-star news announcement sort of taking place. Even though I do like the euro here to the short side, if we just have a quick look at the structure of euro, and just take a look at what's sort of going on here. I think we could see potentially the target level down here at 117 get tested on the euro. The dollar at the moment is being strong, but it's not particularly is it strong. It's strong in a weak market, if that makes sense. Longer term, the trends in dollar and the outlook for the dollar is looking particularly weak. The euro here is, as you can see, it's rallied up. It didn't manage to get through all of this sort of noise up here, and now we're seeing some weakness. So even if we do see a continuation up here to 120 and a retest of 120, I think we could be seeing the 117 tested in the sort of short term. So the sort of things that we can look for here is if we start to come down to the lower time frames, we can start to see that we've got some significant sort of support and resistance structure just underneath price at the moment. And again, if we take a look at this a little bit more clearer, you can see that price has come within a sort of trading range, within a sort of trading window that we call them. So at the moment, if we get weakness break underneath this level, then we've got a clear window down to the 1.17 area. Okay, if I sort of zoom out of this, you can see those structures a little bit more clearly. So that's the sort of easy move down to sort of 117. Of course, if we see continued weakness after that, then we could even start to see us getting that move down towards that around 116, probably 116 and a half, I would say, getting into these lows and these highs in the sort of recent dip of price action. But at the moment, we've got that sort of decision point area where price is contained within this range. So again, further weakness to the short side. Again, so you come down to the lower time frames. we can see that sort of consolidation forming here, and again here on the 15-minute time frame, looking sort of much clearer. Now, of course, we've got key speeches going on at the moment, a lot of euro news, and that can create quite a bit of volatility in these markets. So we'll wait for that news to play out before looking at sort of positioning here. Okay, so let's take a look at what others we've got. So if we have a look at cable as well, we've had a fair bit of movement in cable at the moment this morning. But it has bounced off a technical level. So it's bounced off that 128.50 level, just around here, just around these lows. And again, I think interestingly, if we come down to the 4-hour time frame, let me mark that in. So it's 128 sort of 60, 128, there we go, 128 sort of 50, just gets us down here. Underneath that, if we see any sort of continued weakness here, then we're opening up into a new trading window to the short side, possibly down here to the 127 sort of 60 area. That's the next sort of structure point, as you can see. I think there's actually, I don't think we should ignore this sort of area through here too. So that's sort of halfway through, but still gives us plenty of distance for potential sort of setups on the lower time frames. So if we come down to the 1-hour chart, we can see the sort of sell-off, we can see the bounce at the moment. And here we go on the 15-minute chart. So if it wasn't for the news announcements at 10:30 on sterling, we might have actually been able to have looked at something here on the 15-minute chart. Actually, you probably get a 1-to-1 by the time you get down to this level here. It probably looks like enough room on that. Okay, so let's just come back out of this. Yeah, so I changed the lines to yellow this time, so hopefully they're a little bit more clearer to see on your side. Let me know if they're still difficult to see. I'll try and make them solid lines if and make them a little bit thicker if that's needs a little bit more clarity. Okay, thanks, Gordon. The one thing I can't change, unfortunately, unless anyone knows how to do this, is actually to make the axis numbers on MT4 bigger. I don't know how to do that. I've tried to have a look at it, and I can't seem to increase the size of the font, which would have been nicer as well. So if anyone knows how to do that, please drop a message in the description, or in the notes, or message me. Okay, so what other markets are you looking at? What other markets shall we take a look at? I'm going to have a look at dollar CAD here, but if you've got markets that you want me to take a look at, then as long as I've got data, I'll take a look at them here. Now, another market that I'm keeping an eye on here is dollar CAD. Now, Fergal mentioned this in the post this morning. There's a few here that we're and it's been on our watch list here for a while, The reason being that broader picture, we're looking at a weakness in the dollar. Now, I know the dollar's just had a bit of a buying spree at the moment. It's increased in value, but it is in the context of a short trend. So when that rolls over and that starts to weaken, then we might see a continuation here of the dollar CAD to the short side. From a higher time frame perspective, you can see this is the weekly chart. You can see that we're in this structure at the moment for a move down to test these lows. That's around that sort of 130 area. And we've been talking about this, and this became on our watch list once we started to see a rejection off the higher level within this range here. So, again, we're just looking for a move from the top end of the range down to the bottom end of the range on the weekly time frame. So we can expect to see, it's not going to get there in one fell swoop. These things take several weeks. As you can see, the last time it took about 4 weeks to get down here. So at the moment we're just coming into week 3, and we're almost, over halfway there already. So indications still looking weak here on the indicators on the weekly chart. If we come down to the daily, we can see the rollover here. We can see the sort of structure that's been sort of broken, retested, broken again, continuation of weakness. And now you can start to see that we've got, okay, if I sort of mark this in, we've got some support and resistance structure around that's been developed here in the daily time frame. So we had previous support here. There was resistance at the same level. We've now got support again on the way up. The market's rolled over, it's come down. It's fair to say that we've had a solid sell-off here over 3 days of solid moves to the short side. It's managed to penetrate underneath this level, and now we're consolidating around here. So what I'm looking for is, if there's weakness here and this rolls over, then we're likely to see the lows retested, and that's the trading window. And that's the trading window on the weekly completed. So that's the move that we're looking at here. So at the moment, if we have a look at this on the daily, you can see that we're starting to get a doji, bearish doji forming. If we bring it down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see this consolidation a little bit clearer. Let me zoom that up a little bit. So you can see that we've got this consolidation here forming. The market did actually sort of make a new high here. So we've tested lows, we've sort of made a new high, but look at the price action on the high. We've got quite a rejection there. So a bearish hammer, as they call them, or bearish sort of doji candle, rejecting the highs. I like to call them exhaustion candles. And now we're starting to break towards the lows. So let's just come down a little bit more. So here on the 1-hour chart, we can see the rollover here, and you can start to see now the weakness coming into the market. Again, price action on the candles are confirming weakness at this point. So we've got the another bearish exhaustion candle here, where the market's rejected the highs, and then we broke the lows. So again, if we come down to the 15-minute chart, this is how things are starting to look on the 15-minute chart. So what I'm thinking here is, if we we've got these lows here where the market sort of tested here. We've got these are the last lows of this whole consolidation. Whilst price has been consolidating sideways through here, we've got bearish divergence here on the indicators, indicating weakness in price. So the sort of thing I'd look for here is waiting for the market to break through here, then take the pullback to then look for the pullback and the rejection of the level, or the first rejection. It would be nice if it would be around this level. That would be particularly nice, and that's the sort of thing that we can look for as a potential sort of entry opportunity. And then of course we're looking for a moves. We're looking for moves down to these lows, so long way down to the short side. So that's the sort of thing that I'm looking there up to on dollar CAD. So Gordon, Aussie CAD. You're right about Aussie CAD being at an interesting level. Let's have a look at Aussie CAD. We are looking at the same thing, actually. At least I think we are. So if we have a look at this on the weekly, we can see the market rolling over here on the Aussie CAD. You can see the level on the weekly. So a break of this level just really opens up potential moves to the short side. We've got quite a decent size sort of trading window, potentially down to this sort of price point down here on the weekly. Let me just sort of mark that in, so you can see from this low here right the way through these highs, there's quite a sizable move, which is one of the reasons why I particularly like it. If we come and bring this down to the daily, and let me sort of zoom into this, you can see, if I zoom out, you can see the perspective here. You can see how many times the market's tested this level. Once, twice. It's on there 3 times at the moment. That's just testing it as support. It's been resistance many times before through here as well. And things are starting, moving averages are opening up now. The trend's opening up, and we've got convergence here to the short side as well. So breaking through this level does open up for trading windows to the short side on this market. Again, if we come down to the sort of 4-hour time frame, you can see that we've got our, again, let me just sort of zoom out. So it's going to be quite sort of zoomed out, but you get the perspective here of where price is. The 4 hours already in a downtrend, so any lower, breaking lower, does open this up to the short side. And even if we start to come down to the sort of 60-minute chart too. Now on the 60, you can see we've got a bit of a bounce at the moment on this. Note really from the previous sort of price action that what this market tends to do is take a move down, then you go sort of sideways in a consolidation for a period of time, and then you get another leg down. So it's looking like we might sort of get that type of thing occurring again. So if we do go in for a sort of sideways consolidation on top of this level, then that might actually present us with additional sort of opportunities, maybe sort of breakout opportunities as a flat level breakout, rather than waiting for a break and a pullback and rejection. So that's the sort of thing that I'm looking at there on the on Aussie CAD. Okay. So any other markets that we should be looking at this morning? Just going back over my sort of watch list here as well. There was a few that I thought were looking sort of fairly interesting on the pound. So we talked about Great British Pound against the dollar. I think the Great British Pound against the yen and the Swissy were also looking particularly interesting. The fact that we've got Great British Pound news out in a little less than an hour now, it would be wise to wait until that news has played out before looking at positioning on those. Okay, that's super. So we've okay. Let's start to wrap up now. Okay, so if you enjoy the video, then by all means give us a thumbs up and let us know you like it, and then we can keep an eye on things. If you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, then you will get notifications. Hopefully you got sort of notifications this time. If you would like to make sure you do receive notifications, then you can subscribe to the newsletter, and you'll get automatic notifications of the links to our live streams when we run them if you do that as well. Yeah, so Miles, Great British Pound against the Swissy. I totally agree with you. That's another one of the sterling markets that I like the look of here. In fact, this one, if you recall from the swing posts that we were looking at, was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember now. Past couple of days, we're looking at for the market to break through the highs here at 119, and that was the move we were looking for. You can see what's happened now. The market's actually rolling over to test the lows of this consolidation. So, you know, we've got weakness in Great British Pound at the moment. This is, you know, again, so we're back into this sort of sideways consolidation. So I'd rather see the market out of this either side in order to look for opportunities. I still think that Great British Pound is going to be a highly volatile market until we know what's going on at the end of the year. But we could see, I still think there's going to be a bias towards the long side on this. But that's just not my feeling. We need to see that in the technical charts for any trading opportunities on this at the moment. Bear in mind also that if that dollar does weaken, then that's going to relieve some of the pressure on cable. So we'll see a bit more strength in the cable, and we're likely, you know, that strength is likely to sort of filter through to some of the other sort of smaller FX pairs on the Great British Pound as well. Okay, super. So let's wrap it up for today. I certainly hope you found it useful. Again, if you'd like these live streams, you think they're good and we should continue doing them, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That certainly sort of helps. And again, you can subscribe to the newsletter on the website, and that way you will always get notified of when we're posting and running these sessions. Okay, thanks everybody, and I'll speak to you back in the trading room shortly. Bye for now.